If you're basing your podcast success purely on download numbers, you're missing the point of podcasting in general. Hey, welcome to another episode of Abbey the Podcast Lady. Super glad that you could join me today. I want to talk about some of the unseen ROI of podcasting because I feel like everyone puts so much stake in the downloads and the views and what are the actual hard analytics looking like. And that's important to measure. What gets measured gets managed. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of unseen, unmeasurable things that can come from podcasting. And I just want to touch on those today because I think that they are so incredibly valuable. I've experienced most of these in my own real life too. The first one I want to touch on is accelerated trust. What do I mean by accelerated trust? Think about when you stumble across a new creator on your page and you're like, oh, well, that's a new person. I don't really know who they are. Swipe away, right? Because they're just making a short video anyway. You don't recognize their face. Moving on. Well, if they post another video, you're like, oh, I've seen that face before. You might stick around for a few more seconds. So on and so forth. When finally you're like, oh, yeah, I watch their videos all the time because I've seen their face so many times and I like what they're saying and I trust them. Well, with podcasting, you're not doing that in 15, 30, 60-second increments. You're doing that minutes and maybe even sometimes hours at a time. It might take a while to build that audience up, but once you have their attention and they're coming to you for podcasting, that trust has been accelerated. You are spending so much time with people you will probably never meet in real life, and you're making a real impact on their lives that you might never even see. But that is that accelerated trust. You're spending extended periods of time with people. They're getting to know you on a deeper level, and that is so incredibly important. And it's next to impossible to measure. So that is my biggest unseen ROI for podcasting is you're accelerating that trust with your audience, and you're probably never going to see a result from it, but you're going to be a big part of their lives and you will never know it. And it happened fast and out of the blue. This next unseen ROI could potentially be a seen one. I mean, you might be able to trace this back sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, and that is opportunities from podcasting. I've had a lot of incredible opportunities from podcasting, and you really gotta sit and draw the crazy red lines on the cork board with the pictures to be like, where did that person find me here to get to here? My best example of this is in a couple weeks, I am heading to Vicky's Camp and Country Jam in Redwood Falls, Minnesota, where I am the head of social media for festival weekend, which means I'll be posting content, creating content, enjoying the festival, working for it, but also just having a great time. That would have never happened if I would have never reached out to Vicky and said, hey, would you like to be a guest on my podcast? We built a relationship. She came on my show. She told the story of how Vicky's Camp and Country Jam got started, and we just stayed in contact. We built that connection, and now for the past 3 years, I've been invited to come down to Vicky's, make content, share her story. So an unseen ROI that you may not be able to trace back to podcasting is just those opportunities and connections that come from hosting a show and being a guest on other people's shows. Another unseen ROI is being top of mind for someone. How can you tell if you are at the top of someone else's mind? You probably don't know unless they tell you oh, you were my first thought when XYZ problem popped up. You're never going to know if you're truly top of mind for people, but what you can do is you can just keep consistently showing up, making content, and being the expert in your field. And if you post about it, if you share about it, if you share your story, if you get the word out, that's how you become top of mind. But if you were to ask yourself right now, okay, who am I top of mind with in my industry? You can't answer that question. That's an impossible question to answer. You can't read everyone's minds. Not yet anyway. I'm sure technology will get there someday, but you got to keep showing up consistently, and that makes you top of mind for other people. It's an unseen ROI, but when that problem does come up and you're the one that's showing up in their feed consistently with valuable information and great insight, you're going to get referred to other people because they're like, oh yeah, Jake does that show about that thing that you have the problem with. Go see him. That is top of mind. That's ROI you'll never see. Something else you'll probably never see is your familiarity at scale. Let's put it into context like this. Think about what it would take to have 500 coffee dates with people. Networking coffee dates. Hey, let's grab a cup of coffee, get to know each other, get to know our business, share your insight, I'll share mine, and maybe we can help each other out. Think about doing 500 500 of those. That's more than one every single day, all year round. That includes Christmas and Thanksgiving. Can you imagine waking up Christmas morning like, hold on, family, I gotta go have this quick coffee date with someone and talk about their business? That's hard to do, right? Like, that is a lot of meetings, that's a lot of people. But with podcasting, you're creating a familiarity and you're sharing about your experience and your expertise at a large scale. 500 people listening to a show or 500 coffee dates with different people. I'd rather just make a show and share it and have 500 people listen to it, right? I'm sure you would too. That makes way more sense. So that is something you'll probably never see the scale or scope of. You can kind of measure that with downloads, not necessarily, but your familiarity is just going to scale up and up and up. The more you post, the more you do your show, the more you get the word out there about what you do and just how you're operating in general. Another ROI you'll probably never see is how you become part of someone's routine. I always like to say that it doesn't matter how often you post, it just matters that you do it consistently on the same schedule, because that's how you become part of someone's day. Personally, I have a podcast listening schedule in my week because certain shows of mine come out on certain days and I just like to listen to them on days they're released. Like Girls Next Level drops on Sunday night. I listen to it on Monday morning. My favorite show, which is Free with Ads, which is a free movie review podcast, that comes out on Wednesdays. So I have a new episode to listen to when I'm in the car on Wednesdays. Think about your own listening habits and what you know. Like, it's Love Island season. We know that we get a new episode. If you're a Love Island fan, we watch it every single night except for Wednesday, and then Saturday is the After Sun show. Creating habits, becoming part of someone's day. When you release your shows on set days at set times, you become part of their routine because they know when to look for you. They know when to expect you, but that's also something you'll never be able to manage and see. If you have certain podcasting hosts like RSS.com, affiliate link down below, love them for hosting podcasts, you can see what time of day people are listening and what day of the week people are listening if you're on one of their upgraded plans, which is super valuable information. But it comes down to like the hot button areas are when the episode gets released, because that's when it gets downloaded depending on your platform. There's all this like little stuff that goes into it, but you'll never see how you are truly part of someone's day. You'll never see how you're part of a mom's walk when she gets 20 free minutes from her kids and she's taking a stroll around the neighborhood. You'll never see how you're being listened to as someone is driving up to the lake on the weekend to go have fun with their family. That is an ROI you will never experience with this podcast, but it's something you should be aware of because I know as a listener and as a creator, it's so important. And the last unseen ROI I want to touch on is capturing stories while you still can, because this is something that I have noticed a little bit more in my life as of recent, as I've kind of been reviewing things that I've done in the past and making plans for what I want to do going forward. I used to host a show called The Small Town Tourist, where I would just share stories of cool things happening in more rural communities is what I was really focusing on. But I was going through some past episodes and thinking like, oh, do I want to bring this show back? I really had a great time doing it, but do I have the capacity to do it the way I want to do it? And I stumbled across my episode I did with Scott Schlecht from Crafts Direct in Waite Park, Minnesota. And I am a huge crafter. I love creating things, sewing, bedazzling, scrapbooking, painting. I swear I've tried every hobby. But Crafts Direct was my favorite store because it was just this wonderful locally owned craft store in central Minnesota. And I got to have Scott on my show to talk about the craft store and talk about the family legacy that it had. It was started by his parents and how him and his siblings took it over, and then they added a brewery to it. And it was just so cool to capture that story. And not too long after we recorded that, probably about 6-ish months, they announced that they were closing. And we no longer have Crafts Direct in our town. I'm still bummed that we don't have it, but I am eternally grateful that I got to capture the story of Crafts Direct on my podcast. And that is something that I don't know if kids write history reports or anything about closed down businesses, but it could be a reference point for someone in the future if they're writing about Crafts Direct and the family legacy and the story behind it. One of my clients is the Love Story podcast, and the first season of that show was Ashley bringing on couples to share their love stories. And what's so cool is I got my parents to be a guest on the show, so I have a podcast that I can go to and listen to of their love story anytime I want to. I even got my mother-in-law to come on and share the the love story of her and her late husband, Kurt. I have these things now that I can go back and watch. And I think it's just so valuable to capture these things. And how do you put a price on that? How do you put an ROI on something like that, where it's kind of just capturing this moment while it still exists? So I think that's just a huge thing that podcasters probably don't give ourselves enough credit for doing things like that. We are capturing history, future history is what it really boils down to. And yeah, I've been really tossing around bringing back the small town tourist almost selfishly, purely for that reason, is just to have this like time capsule of cool things. Cause that's kind of what it turned into now that I haven't posted for a year and a half on that. So just something to think about, just some unseen ROI of podcasting. It's not all about the downloads. It's not all about what you're getting every single week. It's really not. There's so much more to this medium than just the numbers. So hopefully that answered a question you might have had, or gave you some insight, or just made you think. You know what? That's what today's goal was. Today's goal was to just make you think about podcasting in a different light and defining success in podcasting in a different light. Thank you so much. If you're looking for more resources, if you're looking to learn how to start a podcast, I got an online course. It's all in the show notes below. If you're looking to work with me, again, show notes below. Leave a 5-star rating and review, and I will catch you next time on Abbey the Podcast Lady.